Thank you very much, Premier. Next, I invite Seamus O'Regan, MP for St. John's South Mount Pearl, with his remarks.
Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. Their Honours Frank Fagan, Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland and Labrador, and Mrs. Fagan, the Honourable Dwight Ball, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Members of Parliament, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, members of our military, Mesdames et Messieurs. The Newfoundland Regiment may be the story of Beaumont Hamel, but Beaumont Hamel isn't the whole story of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. At moments like this, it's important to preserve the memory and the honor of the men and the women who place service above sacrifice, who place country above comfort. But all too often, we take these men and women and their memories and we use them to tell a story that simply isn't true. On July 1st, 1916, the men of the Newfoundland Regiment went over the top at the Battle of the Somme. You all know that. What you may not know is that up to that point in the war, they had served with incredible distinction. They were considered amongst the very best. They were one of the few volunteer forces skilled and ready enough to fight alongside professional soldiers. In Gallipoli, they withstood everything their enemy and the weather could throw at them. And when a British force was unable to evacuate with the main group, it was the Newfoundland Regiment that was chosen to go back in and cover the retreat. That bears repeating. That bears repeating, ladies and gentlemen. When a dangerous and important job was at hand, it was the Newfoundland Regiment that was called to action. There is a reason why the Newfoundland Regiment was the only regiment to receive the royal designation during World War I. If we hang our heads on July 1st and think of Beaumont Hamel as the cruel sacrifice of Newfoundlanders, as some colonial cannon fodder by uncaring generals, we do a disservice to their memory. We do a disservice to what was our country and what is our home. The men of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment did not shrink from their duty. They did not fear their responsibility. They were fully aware of what faced them when they went over the top, fully aware of the machine guns, the artillery, the snipers that awaited them as they tried to cross into no man's land. If you read the journals of those who fell on July 1st, you do not read the thoughts of men unwilling to face what they knew inevitable. You read the thoughts of men who refused to even consider letting down the man next to them, even consider letting down their families at home, refused to consider letting down their country. That's Newfoundland. That's Newfoundland. That's my home. It's a place that despite the wind and despite the rain and despite the cold, it keeps a warm house and an even warmer heart. It's a place that despite the economic hardship and the too often difficult job of keeping the wolves from the door, always has a cup of sugar or a cord of wood for a neighbor. That's what they were fighting for. That's why they went over the top that day. We rightfully honor them by doubling down our efforts here, by refusing to bow in the face of staggering odds, by refusing to let down the person next to us or our families at home. As we take a moment to reflect, let us consider the bravery of each and every man that day, because they are giants. They are heroes. Thank you.